Up until recently, science knew very little about the mind. They thought that it was just some etherical concept that existed separate from the body, but now what we're beginning to realize is that through functional brain scans and later technology that's been developed, that mind really is the brain in action. It's the brain at work. It's what the brain does. Most of the information that's wired in our brain is information that we already know or that we've already experienced. The person who is serious about change and serious about making their brain and mind work differently, there's plenty of room in the brain to be able to develop new thoughts and new systems. And all we need is knowledge. All we need is information. Learning as much information as you can about quantum physics and about neuroscience and about mind, brain, body gives people really the permission to change. All of us, every single person, independent of their creed, or their culture, or their gender, or their age, or their race, every single person, when they're asked to observe something, has an effect on the very tiny, that we're all participants in the nature of reality. The brain processes about 400 billion bits of information every single second. But we're only conscious of about 2,000 of those 400 billion bits. Now those 2,000 bits of information of what, in reference to where our awareness exists only has to do with three things. It has to do with our feedback from the body, feedback from the environment, and our feedback in reference to time. If we're given knowledge and information, and that knowledge and that information is unconventional, if it's outside the box of what's accepted scientifically, socially, politically, if it's outside the box of what's even religiously accepted, maybe we'll begin to perceive reality differently based on that knowledge that we've received. Science is beginning to understand that the way in which we make circuits in the brain, the way in which we begin to make connections in the brain, aside from allowing the environment to mold and shape our brain, that we can begin to mold and shape our brain by paying attention. And if we can hold on to an idea, we begin to wire those connections in our brain. By wiring those connections in our brain, we begin to leave footprints of those concepts neurologically in the tissues. And those footprints then can act as the foundation in the way in which we can act and behave. The moment we give the brain new information and the brain can pay attention through the frontal lobe to that information, we begin to see things that already existed, but we've filtered out of the equation. Most of the time, people can't pay attention for more than 6 seconds. Through media and through the brainwashing of television commercials, it seems like everybody has attention deficit disorder because we're such a society that's based on convenience. The concept of creating reality, the concept of using our mind to produce an intended result, it's pretty much a natural law.